Hi, this is Lady Lex UK and this is Dr. Lex number 8. Right, you haven't been sending me a lot of quick and easy queries recently, so there's been a bit of delay on making one of these. A lot of the queries I get are very specific to people's games and problems that they found while they're making it, and it is very difficult for me to diagnose an issue, especially when you get comments like, I've done everything right and it doesn't work, what have I done wrong? It's like, well, I have no clue. And the only way that I could have a clue is possibly to see your level if you send me a collab link. However, I don't want to open up the floodgates to say to people, send me your collab links so that I can fix your game. I could end up with a similar situation that I've got with send me the links to your game for me to play. Now, you're sending me hundreds, literally hundreds and hundreds of games every week for me to play for my pick of the week. And if I said, yep, I will fix your game for you, please send me a link, I could end up with another load of 100 games, collabs, and I don't want that. I just don't have the time. And also, I might not be able to fix your issue. Not every issue is obvious with the game, and the way people actually build microchips and everything, it's almost impossible to tell what the hell is going on with wires going in all directions, nothing labelled, and it's a nightmare to actually diagnose and fix people's issues with their games. So I thank you for having the faith that I could help you, but I really can't. So I'll try and answer as many things as I can in the comments if I can. But please don't send me your collab links so that I can fix your game for you. I'm afraid I just don't have the time. I have a website. I have this YouTube channel. I have my own personal projects. I just don't have time to do that extra bit. So I'm hoping that a lot of what people are asking, though, I can incorporate into a tutorial so that I can help lots of people rather than just one. So that's the purpose of Dr. Lex. So this week we're looking at Legato and Crescendo. That's music terms. Cut and crop, with sculpting what the cut and crop tools actually do. And how to set up cameras and hide your imp for when you're making art scenes. So I hope that's useful to all of you. Enjoy the video. Right, Legato then. So we'll go into search instruments and we'll pick up some violins. Okay. In settings, you've got an option called Legato here. We're going to keep it off and see what it looks like in its default mode. So I'm going to open up its instrument. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the note and then press the next note in the sequence without letting go of the first note. So like that. And you'll see we've got four individual notes. So we'll copy that and we'll go into here and delete that so it's blank. And I'm going to turn that power off of that because we're going to do it again. So this time we're going to turn Legato on. I'm going to do the same thing again. So don't forget you're holding down the note. And now we look. You'll notice it's not stepped up, look. It is one single note. It looks completely different and it sounds like this. So there we have it all slurring into each other. If we look at it in piano roll mode, it looks like that. If we open up this one in piano roll mode, it looks like that. So you can see the difference immediately. Let me just pull them away from the timeline so you can see. There we go. So they're individual notes And these are blurry and stepped like this. Now you can artificially, if you want, create that effect. I'm just going to spread these out a little bit. By using the draw notes option and holding down L1 and then drawing with R2, you can do this. That's what it sounds like in the legato. Right, that's what the legato sounds like. Let's see what the slur that I've just created sounds like. A different effect, but it's an interesting effect all the same. So you can put in your own slurs, because if you draw with L1 and R2, you can do this. So you can create your own slurry sounds. You can make it like a stylophone sounding instrument if you wanted to, by drawing them in like that. So it makes some very interesting effects, and it might be something that you haven't really tried before. So you could have a little play about with that and see how it goes. Right, so this is about how to get dynamic volume control on your instruments. And so what I've got is I've got a piece of violin music here. So this piece of music you can change the volume using these little circles on the top. So if you wanted it starting quiet and getting louder, you can move this one along like that. So it starts quiet. It gets louder and louder. And you can do the opposite by grabbing the other end. So this will fade off. And you can also put both of them on together. So it gets louder and louder and louder to the middle. And then fades off to the end. The trouble with this is you don't have much control, and you can do the opposite. You can't have it from loud get soft. It won't let you do that. So you don't really have as much control over where it starts to get louder. So it starts to get louder from the beginning. That might not be what you want. And I don't see... I've tried. There doesn't seem to be a way of moving that start point. So for ease of use and so that you have more control, I recommend you use keyframes. So we're going to our keyframe here. We'll put our keyframe down. We're going to have that starting quite loud. And then we're going to put another keyframe in here. And we're going to have that getting soft. And then we'll have it getting loud again over here. Now I don't want it to start to get soft until it gets to about here. So I can elongate this keyframe like that, then put a blend in here, then I can have that playing soft, making this one longer. So I'm pushing up on the D-pad. And about there. And then like that. So now we get this. So you've got full control of when the volume is loud, soft, or whatever. So although this is all fine and lovely, and if you just literally want it to fade off, then that's excellent for that, just to do that. But if you want real control over the volume of your piece, I suggest keyframes is the way to go. Right, somebody asked about the crop and cut tools in Dreams. So let's go into sculpt mode. Right, I've put down a cube, and we have crop. Now what this does is you put this over my cube like this, and I can crop it like that. I can cut it. Let's do it again with a. So I take my cube, and then I can take a donut shape, and I go into crop, and as you can see, I can cut like that, and you end up with this shape. Which is very, very useful indeed. So it's basically what it does is it cuts shapes out of shapes is what it does. And you can do it with pre-made stuff. So let me see, I made a coin recently. That's a good one to do. There we go. Here's our coin. If I zoom in, there's my coin there. If I go into sculpt mode and go into crop, select my coin, there we are, I can cut it in half. Now there we go, I've now got half a coin. Now bear in mind, it's just like painting, so it's, if you move it around like this, you see you'll lose its integrity. So you have to make sure you've scoped out before you can move it around. And notice, of course, because I didn't change the colour to match, we've got that pinky colour there as the cut mark. So you need to make sure that you've got a suitable colour when you cut it, so that the inside is the right colour. So let's go for something like an apple. Going to the Dreamverse, let's find ourselves an apple. There's an apple. Okay. So we're going to use the crop tool, and I'm going to use a sort of yellow colour. I'm going to crop my apple. So we want it so that we're just taking a slice out of this, like that, and then I'm going to take a circle, take a sphere, and there we go. So we can see like we're taking a bite out of this apple. That works really well. So you can get all sorts of effects going with the crop tool. So don't forget the crop tool. Take the cylinder here. This is what you're keeping. It's not everything else is going. So it's whatever you can see, that's what you're keeping. Like that. There we go. So now we've got half an apple. It's a really good way of making your shapes a little bit more interesting, taking great big chunks out of it. There we go. Very nice. Right, now the other tool is the cutout tool. This allows you to do the opposite. So this time, this is what we're actually not deleting things, we're just taking slices of it. So now, when I go in, I've cut that into 3 separate little bits, like so. So this is really great for making puzzle things that you can scatter around your world, and that somebody's got to make. Maybe there's a shield and you need to get all 3 parts of the shield. You can make your shield and then cut it up and then put these parts in your game for people to collect, and then they're magically, when they put on a pedestal or something, they miraculously reform and make the shield, that sort of thing. So really handy for that. Also very handy for creating things that explode. So you take an object and then cut them all up and then have them explode out in little bits all over the place. It's very good for that. So that's what the 2 tools do. So crop keeps and deletes the rest, while cutout literally chops it up into bits. So there we are. Right, so here is a quick idea on how to set up artwork for people to view. So we're going to create, I'm just going to grab a still life for my Nightmare W1234, and there we go. They've got a still life all ready to go. There it is there. Now, if you zoom in here like this with your imp, like this, and you think, okay, that's it, that's what I want to do, that's what I want people to see, and then you go into play mode. You think, oh, that's good, right? That's fine. Okay. Go to edit mode. Go into play mode. Hang on, no, I don't want it here. I don't want it. I want it here. I want it here. I want it looking at this, like that. Yeah, that's what I want. I want it looking like that. Perfect. Great. Okay. Let's rewind that. Oh, hang on a minute. Why am I over here? So, in order to view the still life exactly as you want, you're going to need to put a camera in. So, we're going to put a camera in. Like so. And so, I put in L1 and X, and now I've got control of the camera view. So I can set this up. It's exactly how I want people to see this still life. There we go. Done. So now every time I go into play mode, I can't move around. I can't change the angle. It's fixed. That camera is now fixed. And I've got this imp here, which is sort of spoiling the ambience of the entire thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in a gadget, gameplay gear, global settings, pop that down, and turn off the imps. There, I've got no imp now. I've got my scene. It's all working out lovely. Right, now, what if you wanted the ability to move around the scene, but you wanted them to start in a particular spot? So we've got our camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop down a timer and a not gate. So I'm going to set the timer for half a second, and I'm going to wire from the timer finish signal. Don't be tempted to wire from the pulse, which is the one that comes out of here. You want this one, the signal one, into the not gate and out to the power of your camera. So now let's rewind that, You'll start off with the camera view fixed for half a second, and then you're able to move. And you'll notice I don't need my imp to move around the scene. So the imp is still hidden. So I've got full movement to move around the scene. Now, this might not be what you want. You might want to have fixed camera angles and have a button for that. So we'll just delete that for now. I'll leave it there. It's not going to do anything. It's fine. So I'm going to put in a selector, and we're going to have 4 cameras, like so. So this is camera A, this is camera B, this is camera C, and this is camera D. And we're going to need a controller sensor set to remote. And I'm going to use the R1 button. You can use any button you like. And I'm going to link that to move to next output. So now I'm going to move these cameras. So this camera here, I'm going to zoom in on this apple, like that. This camera, I'm going to go with the skull. And this camera, I'm going to come really high, out like that. There we go. So I've got my 4 cameras. They're all wired up. And I've got an R1 button there. So we now go into play mode. So we start off on camera A, camera B, camera C, and camera D, and then back to camera A again. Now, if you don't like the transition, you don't like the camera moving, then inside the cameras, you go change the transition type. You can change it to cut. So we change them all to cut, like this. There we go. Change them all to cut. So now it's R1, 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 R1. There we go. So that's how you set up an artwork. Now, the other thing that you need to be aware of is if you have a puppet in your scene, a possessible puppet in your scene, and you want to be able to possess it. Obviously, I've got no imp in order to possess my puppet. So there's no way I can possess it with the imp turned off. So we'll delete our global settings thing. So we've got an imp. Now we've got an imp. Okay, we've got our cameras set up. So we've still got our fixed thing, but we can possess our... Oh, he's fallen. We can possess our character here, and we can walk around the scene. He keeps falling off the table, but there we go. So we can do that. But obviously you need the imp at the beginning to be visible in order for that to happen. If you have a possessible character in the scene and no cameras, so we'll just delete all of this. There we go, all the cameras are gone. You'll notice this is the angle you get, and that's the possessible character, and you can't move around from that. until you possess him, you're always going to circle around this possessible character. And you can't zoom around, you can't go inside. So if you don't want a character to be, you want the character just to be part of the scene, then it's very important. If you don't want you don't want the character to be possessable. You find that it's microchip. Let's lift him up and I can see it. Right, there we go. If you go into the controller logic, make him non-possessed. And now, when you play, you can zoom in and out and around and around. But you can't do that if you've got a possessable character in there. So if you don't want him to be possessed, you don't need him to be possessed, and you want free reign, then you have to remember to make him non-possessable. You can also use keyframes and things to make him temporarily non-possessable, etc. And you can put force possession in and all sorts of things to make this different. But there we go. That's the situation with the imp. Right, that was Dr. Lex number 8. I hope you found something interesting there that you didn't know before. If you have any queries or even ideas about what you'd like to see in a future Dr. Lex, then please leave a comment. I do look at all the comments on all pages, but if you could keep your queries for Dr. Lex on Dr. Lex pages, that would be really helpful for me. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in your dreams.